All right. So it is Yud Shvat Tafshin Pei, the 10th day of Shvat, 5780. And we're studying the book of Shmuel Aleph, chapter 20, verse 18. I have to say before we start that it's a very special day. It's 70 years exactly since the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe passed away, and the last one took the reign exactly on Yud Shvat.
That's the Alta?
No, the last one. The last one he took the reign 70 years ago from the one before him. It's if we have a few minutes at the end, maybe I'll say some couple of words about that. I think that he was able to connect with so many people and lead a movement which is changed the world a few times over, the reason I am who I am here is also, just one of his accomplishments. Anyway, so we are studying the book of Shmuel, and we are about to start the section which we read twice a year as an haftarah. Okay, we read it always when Shabbat is on the eve of Rosh Chodesh, an Erev Rosh Chodesh. That's when we read this section, because this section is talking about Machar Chodesh, about the tomorrow. It starts with tomorrow is Rosh Chodesh. Now, it's sort of a loose connection because who cares? Why? Why? So it says tomorrow is Rosh Chodesh. Next time I will probably, if we finish the section based on the Pshat, next time we'll address that question, which is why are we reading this section twice a year on Erev Rosh Chodesh? Typically, the problem is that haftarah is supposed to be connected to the parasha, right? There are events in the parasha that are mentioned again in the haftarah, and that's
or to the occasion.
Or to the occasion if it's a yontif, right?
So this is Erev Rosh Chodesh.
It's okay, but if it's Erev Rosh Chodesh, how is that connected to any of the parashot that it's falling under, which is a lot of them,
Now,
where does it say it's mentioned? I'm sorry, go ahead.
What?
Okay.
Where does it say what?
That's about Rosh Chodesh.
The first verse says, "Vayamol Yonatan Machar Chodesh." The fourth and fifth.
Sorry, my apologies.
Yeah, it's
sorry.
okay.
Yep.
Okay. You said exactly twice a year?
Yeah, usually twice a year. Yeah.
Okay, but could vary.
Yeah, some years it's 3. I don't think that it's ever 2. That it's ever 1.
Okay.
It's 2. It's every 6 or 7 months. It falls on every 5 or 6 months, something like that. Anyway, at least twice a year. Anyway, but that's not where we are right now. We are just going to study the Pshat first. And the Pshat is that we're in the beginning of a long run where David is running away from Saul because he realized finally, after all the attempts, that Saul means business and he wants to kill him and he wants to get rid of him. He tried twice to assassinate him in the house while he was playing for him using the spear. And he just, there was no first time, maybe it was a mistake. Second time, it was targeted. So he's the son of Saul, Jonathan. He's a very good friend of David. They have some covenant. They struck a covenant. They love each other very, very much. And Jonathan is dedicated to David in an unusual way. And he struck a covenant with him before, asking him, "Listen, I know that you're going to be elected. You're going to be a king one day, and just don't kill me. Don't get me.
Did he actually say that, or is that what he
Yeah. He says, "V'lo amut, tasei mi chesed Hashem v'lo amut." Do kindness with me and don't kill me. And even if I'm not going to survive, don't eradicate my family, because in those days it was common that King 2 comes, kills the entire family of King 1, so there is nobody to take over, to rebel, revenge, etc. And Yonatan couldn't believe that his father doesn't see the greatness in David. He couldn't believe that his father wants to kill David. He knew that his father has psychological issues at the moment. He was suffering from depression. And he thought that, just stay away from him when he has depression, because he's acting erratically when he has one of those attacks. But under normal circumstances, when his mind is with him, there is no reason in Yonatan's mind to believe that Saul hates David. But David experienced it, very closely, and he saw that it's not just the depression. So finally they agree. So let's try. Let's test. Let's see. Yonatan is telling David, let me try to figure out one last time, and if just give me one more chance. And this is where we are. So Yonatan comes with a plan. This is the plan. Vayomer lo Yonatan Machar Chodesh, says tomorrow is Rosh Chodesh, and on Rosh Chodesh, typically there was a custom to make a party, a special meal, a Seudat Rosh Chodesh. In those days also, the custom was not to work in the field on Rosh Chodesh, to minimize the amount of work that you do. Nowadays, people work on Rosh Chodesh all the time, and you're allowed, but the custom was to commemorate the day and not to go to work, and therefore do some special meal. So if there is a meal at the a state dinner at the palace, everybody who is involved in the palace is going to come to participate. And David, after killing Goliath, and after being assigned as a top general, and after being the son-in-law, and the head of was the head of the band, was playing, and on the band, he was a one-man show. He was playing for the king. So all of these connections, he was invited. He was always invited to the meal at the king's table. And if you are invited to the king for a meal and you don't show up, it's really spitting at in his face. It's pasnish. It's not right. So, but Yonatan tells him, listen, he knows David is scared stiff, because he was trying to be, he thinks that the next time Shaul is going to see him, he's going to capture him and is going to kill him. So he's not going in there. So Yonatan told him, okay, Machar Chodesh, tomorrow is Rosh Chodesh, we're going to have a meal, v'nifkata ki yipaket moshavecha, and you're going to be missing. Okay? You're going to be missing, and ipaket is typically a language that means, a word that means count. You'll be counted. You'll be counted by not being there. By not being there, you'll be counted even more. What? It's a negative. What? Yeah. Right, exactly. ושילשת תרד מאוד ובאת אל המקום אשר נצטרת שם ביום המעשה וישבת אצל האבן האזל. So then he tells him, we are here now in the field. They went out to the field. They didn't want to have the discussion about the plan in the city, because there is a saying, Oznaim lakotel, there are ears to the wall. The wall has ears. Okay? It's not only today where you can record everything on a cell phone. It always used to be that. So in order to be away, you have to, they went to the field where nobody sees them, where they're alone, truly alone. He says, so this field let's sort of divide it to 3 sections. And in the first day, you're going to be in the first section, second day in the second section further, and third day furthest, because that means if you need to be more hidden. In the first day, you can be on the edges of the field. Basically, it's probably nothing will happen. And as the days, as you miss more meals at the with the king, he's more likely to send the troops after you. So just be careful. So you should come here and you should hide, and every day you should hide more, and you should be here b'yom ha'maaseh, and on the third day, Rosh Chodesh is typically 2 days, because you don't know when the witnesses are going to show up. So nowadays where you have a calendar, it's very easy, we're calculating it, and 6 months of the year is 1 day, 6 months of the year is 2 days. But in those days, most of the time, it was 2 days. Either because it was declared, or it was not declared, or it was declared late. There are different situations. So, since we said that on Rosh Chodesh they used to not work, the first day of work would be the third day. Not, after 2 days Rosh Chodesh, the third day, and that's B'yom HaMaaseh, and the day of work, the next work day, and that's why that's the third day, and he will need to be more hidden in the field, because then people first going to show up to work and might see him. And at the end of that field, there was a very famous rock, Even HaEzel. There was a couple of wars that happened in that area, so it was a famous place. And it was a very good sign for them where to find each other later. Also, we will see later in the next verse, the sign between them has to do with shooting arrows. Okay, so he would shoot arrows into the field. Jonathan would shoot arrows into the field. He better know where David is so he doesn't hit him, right? So he told him where to be, so he doesn't get hit with the arrow, so the sign is not going to kill going to kill him, God forbid, or hurt him. So, so he says, so you're going to be at the stone, at that rock, and I'm going to bring 3 arrows, and I'm going to shoot them to the side. I'm not going to shoot them straight at the rock, because you're going to be at the rock. I'm going to shoot them straight to the side. And I'm going to sort of have a practice run, a practice target practice, and that's how that's the cover story why I'm there. Now, why did they make this kind of a sign? Why couldn't he just come to him and say, listen, my dad was very angry, you better run because you toast? Why did they have to do it with the arrows? So there are several explanations. The one that I found most plausible is that he did not want to speak badly about his father. There is a mitzvah, kabedet avicha v'et imecha. We're not allowed to talk about any person, any Jew, badly. Definitely not about your dad. So when they met later, we will see that they're not really saying anything about the meeting, because he didn't want to say, hey, my father was really upset, or he was, he lost it, or any of that kind of, descriptions of the events. So they said, let's make a sign. I'll follow the sign. And then they saw each other, but they didn't speak about that because the sign was enough. Now, why did they use also arrows? They use also arrows, again, next time when we talk about the connection of this haftarah to many Shabbatot, we will address that more. But the Pshat says that an arrow, there is a halacha that someone who speaks badly, lashon hara, about someone else, he hurts 3 people. He hurts himself because he did the sin, right? He hurts the person that he was talking about because there is no probably there is no smoke without a fire. So if somebody talks badly about you, it's not. Try to avoid it. And the person who heard the lashon hara. So 3 people are being hit with the arrow. Okay, so that's why he was, to signify the fact that he's not doing that, he used arrows for the signal. So he said he usually walked around with a helper, with a caddy, and who would carry all of his stuff while he's royalty, his Secret Service. I don't know what the guy was, but he says that I'm going to send the kid that will come with me, and I will tell him, go find the arrows. Now, he would shoot the arrows not all at once. He will shoot 1 or 2, and then we'll tell him, go find the arrows, and then he will continue shooting. And because he's a good, was a good archer, he would be able to exactly target the right area and either shoot closer between him and the caddy, or further away. And that would be the sign. If he would shoot further away, that means that David needs to run. The arrows are from the helper and away. And if he's going to shoot the arrows between them, where the helper will have to come back to pick it up. That will be a sign for David that he can come back to the city, that everything is clear, everything is okay. Now, so he gave him 2 signs. He gave him a sign, we'll see in the next verse, that he's calling him Na'ar, which is a young child, and Elam, which is more of a teenager, more of a stronger kid. Because he wanted to give him 2 signals. Number 1, direction, come back or go away, and speed. Do I have to do it fast? Do you have to do it fast? Or if you have to run away, is it imminent and like take off right now? That is if I mention the word Elam, a stronger kid, a faster kid. And if I mention a younger kid, it means that you have to run away, but it's not like in the next 10 minutes, just. So he's going to send the boy and tell him, go find the arrows. And if I'm going to tell the boy, if I'm going to tell him, if the arrows I'm going to tell him, the arrows are between you and me. So if I'm going to tell him that the arrows are between us, that means you can come back, no problem. You can even come out and pick up the arrows and come because everything is okay. And that's going to be I'm swearing that I'm going to give you the signal, the correct signal, and you can trust me. But if I'm going to tell the guy, and here is mentioning an older a name for an older guy, that the arrows are from you and away, you should go away because God really decided that it's not good for you to hang around here, and please rescue yourself and don't endanger yourself by coming back.
Where is the lad standing when he's talking to him? He's by him, right?
The lad would go after the first arrow. So he would shoot an arrow.
Right. So
the lad is going to go to the first arrow.
The first arrow doesn't tell him anything.
The first arrow doesn't tell him anything. And then as the guy is walking, as the lad is walking to the arrow, he will shoot the second arrow. And if he's going to shoot the second arrow before or after him, that will be a sign. Okay. Now, he is also reminding him, listen, I'm going to take a risk here and try to figure out what's going on.
What is the third arrow telling?
So
I get the second arrow.
Right.
What's the third arrow for?
So, so I don't know. I also had the same question, what the third arrow is telling him. I think that he would tell him that the arrows is from him away or from him closer. It's not the arrow, it's arrows. Now, the 3 arrows we mentioned are to signal the fact that he doesn't want to talk Lashon Hara, and if he does, it hurts 3 people. So that's why he took 3 arrows. It's also possible that if he shoots several arrows, that gives more urgency to the message if he needs to run away. There are several interpretations
It's also
of
more
what.
suspicious if he shoots several arrows than just 2. Why?
Right, exactly. If he's going for target practice, he should. Maybe that's a good idea. Anyway, he now reminds him that they have a covenant, that they have an agreement, that they have they struck a deal. Yonatan is telling David, and what we spoke to each other, that God is going to be between us, meaning nothing is going to be between us. And everything is going to be between us. The only thing that is going to connect us is God, and therefore we had a covenant. We agreed that you're going to spare me and my family, because I know that eventually you're going to rule. And as long as I'm in power of any kind, by either by extension because I'm in the palace with my father, or if the father will die and he will take the reign, they're going to take care of each other. He reminds him again of that promise. Okay, Vayisater David basadeh. So David right away goes and hid in the field. Vayiyeh Chodesh, and then the sun sets and the Rosh Chodesh comes in. Vayishev HaMelech el halechem lechol, and the king was sitting to the bread, to break a bread and to eat. The commentaries are saying here, obviously it wasn't just bread that they were eating a lot of delicious food. They had all kinds of 7-course meal or 20-course meal, but it's called the important ingredient in the meal is the lechem. That's where you wash for, so it's mentioned as such. By the way, from here we know that it's a good idea to have a meal on Rosh Chodesh. It's even nowadays it's a fine idea to wash on Rosh Chodesh and have a decent meal with bread. So the king was sitting in his regular spot, like like always, with the back to the wall. Okay, he would sit at the back wall. Now, ויקום יונתן וישב אבנר מצד שאול ויפקד מקום דוד. So Yonatan stood up, and then Avner sat. Avner is the general, the chief of staff. He's the uncle of Shaul, trusted man. He led the army. So Yonatan stood up, and Avner sat down, and David's spot was missing. It's a very unclear situation. What was it's a musical chairs situation going on here? So what happened? What was happening is as follows. The king sat in the center. Right next to the king, it would be good if the second in command would sit, which would be Yonatan. However, it's not proper for the son to sit right next to his father. It's not dignified for the father. So they had to put someone in the middle, because the son, when they sit in front of their father, they should sit in with some fear or some respect. And when you sit in a meal with respect, you don't really enjoy the meal. So if he wanted Yonatan to enjoy the meal, he couldn't be sitting right next to him. It's not proper.
Is that true today? That the son shouldn't sit next to the father?
Nowadays, it's not. It's not. No, it's not what we do nowadays. What we do nowadays is that the son should not sit on the father's chair. But that's not. Anyway, so what they did, they stuck usually.
Today we don't sit with our back to the wall, we just go to the corner.
So they they usually would stick David in between because he was his advisor. He was, a person close to him for the musical treatment. So he would be between.
He would be the buffer.
He would be the buffer between Yonatan and Shaul. So now, Shaul is sitting, and then comes Yonatan, and he was sitting first. Yonatan was sitting first, and then the king shows up, and the king takes his place. He took his spot. So Yonatan now doesn't have the buffer, so he sits right next to Shaul. So he stands up and let Avner, who sat right after Yonatan, because Avner was the chief of staff, he said the next one, he stood up and let Avner pass behind him or in front of him to go to be the buffer. So that's the musical chair that was happening here. So the bottom line is it was very, very, very clear to everybody that David is not there. It was no question that David was forgotten. He's in the corner. Nobody paid attention. It was known. He would sit right there in the front, and he's not there. Now, that's if you recall, a couple of weeks ago when we learned the section before, we said that they were debating what if Shaul will say something, and if he will not, and if he will say something good or will say something bad. And the truth is that they also took some sort of a plan. They had a plan. What if Shaul is not going to say anything? That's why the plan was not to just miss one meal, but to miss a series of meals. So only on the third day, it's sort of, they imagined that it's impossible that Shaul is going to keep quiet multiple meals. So there were 2 days of Rosh Chodesh. First day, he didn't say a word. He didn't say anything. He didn't say anything about that, and it seems that he didn't say anything about anything. He was very upset, and he was quiet. But he told himself, he says, this is a very interesting, let's just interpret it, that this is it's an event, it's a coincidence that is not kosher, it's not clear, it's not right, because it's not right. What does that mean? Also very strange words, right? He says, because it's probably something happened to David and he became impure. Maybe touched a cockroach or something happened, bodily fluid, something. He is now in a state of impurity. Now, when someone is in a state of impurity, they don't want to transfer that impurity, so it would be proper not to show up and sit next to the king and rub elbows with the king and make him also impure. So it's probably that he is not tahor now, that he needed the day to go to the mikveh and to get the process going to become tahor. And why wasn't he pure? Because he has ill thoughts in his mind. Because he's like this, has some shenanigans in his mind. He's trying to rebel. He's trying to think how to unseat me. He has something not kosher in his mind. That's why God arranged it so that he will not be pure, and therefore, so he was seeing things that were not there, but actually they were there because it was not kosher that he didn't come. It was a setup in a way. But he thought that it's all an indication that David doesn't have the right attitude towards him in mind. Vayehi mimacharat hachodesh hasheni. So first day of Rosh Chodesh, the meal went quiet. Second day of Rosh Chodesh, vayipaked makod David. Again, David didn't show up, and his place was missing. Vayomer Shaul el Yonatan bno, madua lo ba ben Ishai gam tmol gam hayom lo alechem. So now Shaul can't contain himself and says to Yonatan bno, he knew that Yonatan is a very, very good friend of David, and he told him, why is Ben Ishai not here? Now, the rabbis are telling us that from here that when someone loves someone else, they mention their name all the time, even when it's not necessary. When you love someone, you mention their name, even to them, to others. When you don't, you don't mention their name, period, ever. So he called him by the name of the father, Ben Ishai. He didn't want to mention his first. He was so disgusted with David that he didn't want to mention his name. So he said, why is Ben Ishai not here? Not yesterday, not today. He didn't come to the meal. What's up? So Yonatan answers, Vayan Yonatan et Shaul, Nish'al David mimi ad Betlechem. He told him, David asked me for permission to go home to Bethlehem. Apparently, he told him that there was a party, a family event at David's home, and he needed to go, and he asked for permission, and he gave him permission. ויאמר שלחני נא כי זבח משפחה לנו בעיר, והוא ציווה לי אחי, ועתה אם מצאתי חן בעיניים, אל תנא ואראה את אחי, על כן לא בא אל שולחן המלך. Now, in order to avoid insulting the king and saying, listen, he went to the other party, it's a better party. They have better food, better schnapps. No. So he was trying to be very, very diplomatic and say, listen, there was a party, and therefore all of the brothers, all of the family will gather. And I really was summoned to see my brothers. David was the youngest of 8. Okay, so any brother can really exert his authority over him and tell him to. I think someone should open the.
You just press the green button below.
There you go. That's it. It's done. That's it. Thank you. So the reason was because he wanted to see his brothers, and he was so distraught or distressed. It came so quickly that he didn't have time to wait the next day to ask the king. So he asked me, and I let him, and I told him okay. So now Shaul got very, very upset because Shaul is not stupid. That's one thing that he's not. He was one of the smartest person in the land of Israel at the time. After Shmuel, I guess. Vayicharaf Shaul b'Yonatan. So Shaul was very, very upset. Ve'amar lo ben na'avat hamardut. We'll explain that in a second what that means. Alo yadati ki bocher ata leben Ishai leboshlecha ulebosh lechavat imecha. This is a very, very, very strong sentence. He told him, you are a rebelling child. You chose Ben Ishai, you chose the son of Ishai over me. And it's a disgrace to me, a disgrace to you, and a disgrace to your mother. And that is, it's a very, very strong word. And so what are we saying here? What is Ben Na'avat HaMardut, the son of Na'avat HaMardut? What does that mean? So there are several explanations. One explanation is that Mardut is coming from the word mered, to rebel. You are rebelling. Why are you rebelling? What are you rebelling? It's common when a son is going against his father, the king, in order to unseat the father and take his place. That's common. It's also common when someone else is trying to rebel against the king to take the king's spot. But it's absolutely not normal, and it's crazy when the son is rebelling against the father in order to give the seat to someone else. That does not make any sense. So what the heck are you doing? That's really crazy. Even when you rebel, you have to have brains. So Shaul is telling his son, that doesn't make any sense. What are you doing?
Yeah.
But the English implies that the rebellious person is the mother, not the son.
That's the second explanation. And they both work together. Okay? Why is he mentioning the mother here? Okay? What's the mother have anything to do with anything? So that goes back to the old story which we learn at the end of the book of Judges. At the end of the book of Judges, we had an incident of Pilegesh Bagiva. Pilegesh Bagiva was where the tribe of Benjamin, or some people from the tribe of Benjamin who are, very, very important Hollywood people, basically raped a maid and caused her to die. They left her on the steps of her master's home, and not home or wherever he was lodging, he was passing by. And so he was very upset, and he cut her up, sent her body all over to tell all of the Jews, see what the tribe of Benjamin did to me. And the tribe of Benjamin, because those people were very important in the tribe, they didn't want to give up the people. They didn't want to give them up. So there was a war between the tribe of Benjamin and the rest of the Jewish people, and the tribe of Benjamin lost badly, and all but about 44,000 people from the tribe of Benjamin died, were killed, and only 600 men were left. And those 600 men were the only ones that the survivors, that from them the tribe of Benjamin was rebuilt. They struck a deal back with the Jews, and they decided that it doesn't make sense to remove the entire tribe, let them repent, and they wanted to make sure that they have who to marry. So there were 400 people, 400 women from Yavesh Gilad, which is a town on the other side of the Jordan River, which didn't participate in the war for whatever reason. We're not going to get into it now, but they're the ones that were chosen to marry the tribe of Benjamin, because the tribe of Benjamin was excommunicated, and they couldn't really. No one from the other tribes was allowed to give the tribe of Benjamin their daughter to marry to. They were excommunicated. So we had 600 men. We found a solution for 400 of them with the people of Yavesh Gilad, who were not part of this excommunication event, and they were able to marry them. Now, what happened with the other 200? What happened with the other 200? The rabbis told them that, listen, we're not allowed to give you our daughters, but you're allowed to grab them. You're allowed to talk to them directly, grab them. I mean, to talk to them directly, and to convince them. So the father will not be the one to give it the daughter to, but if you convince the daughter to marry you, she's yours. And this is the whole story of dancing in the orchards. That there were all the ladies who were looking, the girls that were looking to get married and couldn't get married. They all went with white clothing, and they were dancing together, so nobody really was able to identify who is coming from which family. Oh, you have better clothing, so you're
It's too bad.
that's Tu B'Av, exactly. So Cholot Bakramim, right? So this is where this whole Tu B'Av custom of the girls going to dance in the orchard started.
It wasn't the whole country, it was just for the tribe of Benjamin?
That's how it started. Then they continued it around, and it didn't happen in the entire country. It just happened around Shiloh, around the Mikdash where it was at the time. So what happened then is one of the those people, those men from the tribe of Benjamin were the 200. We're going to the orchards, and we're selecting, we're interacting with the girls who would dance over there, and would agree to marry them. What happened is that one of those 200 men was Saul. Shaul HaMelech was from the tribe of Benjamin, and he was one of those 200 that survived and didn't have a solution with the girls of Yavesh Gilad. So he went to the orchards, and but he was not. He was a very fine young man at the time. Was a very gentle guy, and he would not. It just didn't work for him. He didn't. He could. No, it's not that he couldn't find a match. He was bashful. He didn't talk to the girls. He wasn't. It wasn't one of those. That modest. I don't know how you want to call it, but he wasn't working for him. The girl so he was a tall guy, the tallest of them all at the time, very handsome dude. So she approached him, and she struck a deal with him, and she grabbed him rather than he grabbed her. She grabbed him.
She chased him until he caught her.
She what?
She chased him until he caught her.
Yeah, she chased him until he caught her. Exactly. So she was very outgoing, and that's when Shaul is telling his son, "Your mother was too outgoing, and the fact that you're rebelling against me tells me that maybe you're not my son. If she's that kind of a woman that was so outgoing, that so maybe you're not even my son, because it doesn't make sense that you're acting that way. It doesn't make sense that you're campaigning for someone else, against me." That is why he's saying it's all your mother's fault. Nothing. It's all old ways of acting that are not. That are exactly what we're happening today, right?
Getting back to Yonatan. I mean, he's making up a story about that David's brother.
Yes, he lied. White lie. There is a halacha.
Is he criticized for that?
No, there is a halacha that in order to keep the peace, you're allowed to have a white lie. You're allowed to do it. Don't find reasons to lie, but it's not the end of the world. And then he explains to him why is it so bad that David is around. כי כל הימים אשר בן ישי חי על האדמה לא תיכון אתה ומלכותך ואתה שלח וקח אותו אליי כי בן מוות הוא. He says because all of the days that Ben Ishai, that again mentioning David in the name of his father, not uttering the name David, all of the days that the son of Ishai is alive, you're not going to be a king, because even if you are going to be a king, it's not going to last. By now he realized that David is the one that's going to take over, that he lost it and David was chosen, and now he's fighting it, and he's telling Yonatan, you better fight it too, because when kings change, people lose their lives, and you're a prime target. So if you want to be on my good side, please now go fix it and go find him and bring him to me. I know you know where he is, because he is, he's worth as a dead man. There's a dead man walking. Now Yonatan continues. He obviously does not tell him, yeah, you're right, I know everything. He continues with the story and says, and acts surprised. What is wrong with David? What did he do wrong that you were chasing him? Why should he die? He couldn't say anything else, really. So Shaul got really upset, and he took the same spear that he tried to kill David with. Now he's not trying to kill his son; he's trying to hit his son with the, not the pointy end, with the, with the shaft, right? He's trying to just hit him. So when he tried to hurt him, he realized that Shaul really decided that this is it. He's serious. He wants to kill him, and he knew what to do. So So Yonatan was very upset. He left the table. The second day, he didn't eat anything. He basically fasted the second day. So he was upset about two things. He was upset because David basically got his sentence handed to him, and also because his father embarrassed him in front of everybody and told him that you are son of a and how dare you do that, and it was a scene, a big scene. So he was very upset. All right, I think we're not going to finish it today, so it's a good place to stop, and we'll finish it next time.